Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Minnesota.
Welcome to T-Mobile Tuesday Night Baseball. Tonight, the Minnesota Twins return to Fenway Park, looking to even up the series with Boston. We saw a pitcher's duel here last night, and we could be in for another tonight. Phil Hughes has been the Twins' best pitcher this year and has plenty of experience facing the Red Sox from his time in New York. He'll try to outdo the left-handed John Lester, who's at 500 this season, but has 3 wins over his last 4 starts. Good evening and welcome inside Fenway Park. I'm Jamie Hirsch. Figures to be a great matchup on the mound tonight, and Dick Bramer and Jack Morris will be here in just a few minutes with more on that. But first, the Twins will look for a little more offense than we saw here last night, and Brian Dozier could be the answer. He has been an igniter for the Twins offense this season, leading both the team and all Major League second basemen in runs scored with 55, home runs with 15, runs batted in, and he's also near the top with those 15 stolen bases. He is the rock of this team, and Paul Molitor has said he's maybe the most valuable player on this team with those impressive numbers for Dozier, who's certainly in the conversation to make an appearance as an all-star for the Twins at Target Field next month. Here are the latest ballot update results. Dozier 4th in the fan voting at second base behind Boston's Dustin Pedroia, and hoping to make a strong bid for all-star consideration by the manager with his performance here over the next few weeks. 2 former All-Stars will square off on the mound tonight. Dick and Jack will be back with more on Phil Hughes and John Lester right here on Fox Sports North.
Presented by Menards. Save big money on all your home improvement needs at Menards. And by Ram. Guts, glory, Ram.
An important 24 hours for the Minnesota Twins. They'll wrap up this 3-game series with a night game tonight and a day game tomorrow. And we anticipate a pitcher's duel here tonight. Two of the American League's best. Minnesota's Phil Hughes against left-hander John Lester of the Boston Red Sox. And we welcome you to Fenway Park, and it's another beautiful night for baseball here in Boston. Dick Bramer and Jack Morris for Game 2 of this 3-game series. Phil Hughes has been a godsend for the Twins and their fans who've been waiting for somebody to pitch at the level that he has. And the thing to remember, I think, Jack, about Phil Hughes is he actually got off to kind of a slow start, but has really turned it on.
He really has. In his last 10 starts, Phil Hughes has been there amongst the league leaders in a lot of categories. Winning percentage, he's tied for second. ERA, he's fourth. But the most impressive one to me is that right on the very bottom there. Only 3 walks in his last 10 starts. He comes at hitters, and he's done a really good job of winning by throwing strikes and getting ahead in the count. John Lester, on the other hand, he's been steady Eddie for the Red Sox. In his last 11 starts, he's won 6, lost 5, a real good ERA, and he's a premier pitcher also. This ought to be one of those good pitching matchups here tonight at Fenway.
And we had one last night, just 1 run on the board in the series opener last night, despite the fact that both teams have plenty of punch in their lineups. Game number 69 for the Minnesota Twins, taking on the Boston Red Sox tonight and tomorrow. Then they'll be done with the Red Sox for the year. They took 2 out of 3 from Boston at Target Field a month or so ago. The Red Sox have a poorer record than the Twins, and both teams find themselves at or near the bottom in their respective divisions. Right now, the Twins tied with the White Sox, 5 games out of first in the Central. The Menards batting order for the Twins. Danny Santana leading off. Brian Dozier batting second. Bill Mauer third. Josh Willingham, Kendrys Morales, Oswaldo Arcia, Kurt Suzuki, Eduardo Escobar, and Sam Holt. Same lineup that the Twins put out there last night.
Mall of America scouting report on John Lester. The left-hander is really a control guy. He throws a lot of strikes. He's very, very durable. He's got 4+ pitches, and he'll be a premier free agent at the end of the year. I wonder who in the world would need a quality left-handed starter in their rotation.
Northland Ford defense for the Red Sox. Their rosters have changed from last night. We'll get into that in just a little while. Johnny Gomes is in left field. Brock Holt making his first start ever in center field. Daniel Nava in right. Bogarts, Drew, Pedroia, Napoli, the infielders, and David Ross behind the plate. John Lester looking for another good outing against the Twins.
We'll get to see some of his numbers right here. 15th start of the year, and John Lester has got a very good ERA. His record's at .500, which a lot of Red Sox fans are disappointed at, but when you consider the fact that he toes the rubber every single start, his ERA is still in the low 3s. It's pretty good.
Clint Fagan behind the plate. Mark Carlson's at first. Tim Welke at second. Todd Tishner is at third. Hot and humid, and it's going to be hotter and more humid tomorrow. No complaints for those of us who endured the long Minnesota winter. You mentioned the Red Sox roster is different than it was last night. Grady Sizemore designated for assignment, and so they've called up another infielder that might get into play here today or tomorrow. But the veteran Sizemore suffering the same fate, I guess, as Jason Kubel of the Twins, being designated for assignment after a disappointing 4 or 5 week stretch for John Farrell. Lester on the mound. Santana ready to lead things off. Of course, tonight as a right-handed batter against the lefty Lester. And Lester right out of the chute with a long look into his catcher, David Ross. And a first pitch strike. Santana hit by a pitch in the 8th inning last night as the Twins tried to get a run on the board. 1-1.
When the Twins were going well there for that stretch, Danny Santana was really on fire and kind of an igniter in the offense, getting on base and driving in runs in the lower part of the line.
Foul back. That's one thing that's happened on this road trip, Jack. Santana's cooled off a little bit. Willingham is cooled off. Arceus continued to struggle. So the Twins have found themselves on the losing end of some low-scoring ball games, and just a few weeks ago they were winning those games.
Danny swung the bat well last night. Hit a couple balls hard. Was on base twice.
Popped up, backing out of play.
One of the struggles of all major leaguers, and I imagine all levels of baseball, is to mentally get up for every single game. It's a long summer, and there's a lot of ups and downs. Weather can play a role. Tonight's a hot, humid night. A lot of guys love it. Some guys not so much.
Santana so far doing a pretty good Brock Holt imitation. Remember last night, Holt fouled off a lot of pitches against Kevin Correa before finally being retired, I believe, on the 11th pitch of the at-bat. Just 5s thrown so far. A couple of 2-strike fouls for Santana. And off the plate, 2-2.
That's what you want in your leadoff man, is to have him work the count, have everybody in the opposing dugout have a good look at what he might be featuring, what his stuff is today. John Lester's a veteran, so they pretty much know what he's going to do.
Chop foul off a foot. Santana hanging tough here. Right off the top of the foot.
A lot of guys wear that pad down there, but then it inhibits their base running a little bit. Santana, one of the speedsters in the game, so as long as he doesn't do it too often, he's going to try to avoid that.
Another foul.
Very good at bat so far.
4 2-strike fouls for the rookie. And Lester will try again on 2-2. 3-2.
Takes a little something off the breaking ball there. Tries to get Danny to commit and get out in front.
Santana's drawn 6 walks with 103 at bats.
Man of your infinite wisdom and knowledge should know this. I'm going to ask a question. Do you have any idea what the all-time record for most pitches as a leadoff hitter is?
No. Santana just having a wonderful at bat. We said it of Holt last night.
Yeah.
You know, regardless of what happens in the at bat, and Holt ended up making it out to deep right field, you're going to get a lot of fist bumps and high fives in the dugout after something
well,
like
with
this.
pitch count at 100, and not so much for John Lester. He's 1/10 of the way there already. Hasn't recorded an out.
3-2 to Santana. And a liner to left center field, a base hit. A marvelous at bat for Danny Santana. Fell behind very quickly. Fouled off a handful of pitches and then lined a single.
Pretty good pitch to hit too. I mean, meaning it's a tough pitch, more of a pitcher's pitch. John Lester throws a good fastball down and in, right on the knee, inside corner. And Danny just drops the bat head. Very patient. Another remarkable stat that I was told about John Lester today. He has yet to make an attempt to throw out anybody at first base. He has not thrown over to first once this year, but he's got a very quick move to home, so he doesn't feel like he needs to.
Dozier takes a strike at the knees. The Twins had only 3 hits in the entire ball game last night, but they did have a first inning scoring threat. Dozier and Mauer walked, and then Willingham hit into a double play. Dozier bunts it foul, 2 strikes.
Now Bogarts at third base was playing back, and that's not a bad move. Dozier thinking about a base hit. He was trying to pull that down the third baseline, getting Danny Santana over into scoring position.
0-2 to Dozier. Santana goes, and the pitch fouled back. Saw the Twins try to use the running game last night with Pierzynski behind the plate. Lester and Ross have become a tandem. And AJ's problems in throwing out runners pretty well documented over the years. Hard time simply gripping the baseball last night. Twins stole a couple of bases. Long hold, but no throw over. And the ball lifted foul into the seats.
This is not an easy thing to do for a pitcher, to pause that long, hold, take a quick step, and throw a strike. Lester did a good job right there, and he's trying to disrupt the timing for Danny Santana. Like I said, he doesn't throw over to first base ever, but he's got such a quick move home that it doesn't allow any base runners to really advance quickly.
Inside, 1-2. 16 pitches thrown by Lester already. And nobody out. Dozier with his 15 home runs, stole his 15th base last night. Hope to right, and Nava hardly has to move, 1 away. With Joe Mauer coming to the plate, it's time for our T-Mobile game changer, and it's Joe in his last 16 games here at Fenway Park, hitting .349 with 14 runs and 10 runs batted in.
Career Joe Mauer is batting .350 off John Lester. He's got 7 hits and 20 at bats, 2 doubles, 4 walks, 2 strikeouts, and 4 RBIs. So Joe's done a good job against Lester. He's done a good job here at Fenway, like those numbers you said. He needs to get on track and try to move over a base runner right now. And Mauer takes a fastball down the middle of strike. Center fielder Brock Holt is playing shaded over to the gap in left center. And at this ballpark with so much room in right field, it seems like there's only one outfielder. In right field, it's just so much room. Infield's playing pretty much straight away.
And outside 1-1.
In fact, I'm a little bit surprised they've got Bogaerts pulled over in the hole at short. There's a lot of room down the left field line.
You can see the infield swung over a few steps toward the right field line all the way across, but yeah, I would say what, 40 feet between Bogaerts and the third base line. Taken just off the plate, 2-1. And Lester kind of glares in at Clint Fagan a little bit. I think he thought he hit the corner.
See the pitch right here. Good take for Joe right there. Pitcher's pitch. 20th pitch already for John Lester.
Three and one.
He's not giving in to Joe at all. He wants to pitch him down and away.
Willingham on deck. Santana goes, and the pitch driven to left. And Gomes, short of the track, makes the catch, out number 2. Lazy fly ball for the second out, and now Willingham will hit.
John Lester having a little bit of trouble getting on track here tonight. He's usually a guy that works faster than he is, but 22 pitches in hot, humid weather will kind of slow you down a little bit, I guess.
Well, at first at bat with Santana had to make him wilt a little bit, I would think. And Willingham had a chance to give the Twins a lead in his first at bat last night, but hit into that inning-ending double play. Fouled back, 1 strike. And Willingham came off the disabled list, technically off his rehab assignment. He jumped into the lineup and started creaming those pitches, the one he just fouled back, and now we've seen over the last week or so Josh fouling back some of those pitches that he was driving. Inside, and Santana steals second base. Santana getting into scoring position with a stolen base. The count's 1-1 to Willingham.
Danny gets a very good jump at David Ross's throw is on the shortstop side of second base. So a runner in scoring position early for the Twins.
Out in front of the off-speed pitch, and it's 1-2.
That's what John Lester does so well. He can mix and match that fastball off-speed pitch. Kind of has a good feel for what hitters are trying to do and pitches accordingly.
One and 2 to the Twins cleanup hitter. Just off the plate, 2-2.
That was a fastball somewhere in between his changeup speed and his fastball speed. He just took a little bit off. It's not a pure changeup, but it's not max up for fastball either.
It's a foul ball and no play for first baseman Mike Napoli. The rising pitch count is fine, but the Twins want to get a run on the board here too. Shutout here 1-0 in last night's series opener. Two and 2.
foul. Lester with a long look into Ross again. And Willingham got tired of waiting. Taken low, and Lester stepped onto the grass toward his dugout, thinking he had delivered strike 3.
Look at this last pitch. John Lester's just been very, very close. I think a lot of the pitches that he thinks are strike are just low in the strike zone, below the knee.
Fox Tracks had that right at the knees.
Yeah, and it had it across the plate. It was a late breaking. I think it was a cutter.
Full count to Willingham with Morales on deck. 30th pitch of the inning for Lester. Fouled back.
Already 8 pitches for Willingham, so another good at bat.
Checked his swing. Ball 4. And Lester now has one more batter to face, Kendrys Morales, and something's wrong with Ross. That pitch was in the dirt. I'm not sure where he blocked it, but now the ball hopped up and I think got Ross under the mask.
You see the replay here. Ball hit the ground and ran right up his arm. A lot of catchers have this little protector that hangs off the bottom of their face mask to protect that neck and throat area. And I imagine that's not a good feeling.
And Ross saying he's okay, and John Farrell's going to turn this into a trip to the mound here. They're trying as much as anything to just to settle Lester down, who seems a little flustered. Quick trip to the mound. Farrell doing all the talking here.
Farrell is reading him the riot act, it looks like, but either case, it's probably a case where Lester might have been complaining to his manager about the ball strike, and John Farrell, a former pitcher himself, is saying, hey, you've been around the block long enough. You know that you just got to make your pitches get ahead maybe. Kendrys Morales, pretty good numbers against John Lester. 2 hits in 6 appearances, a .333 average.
Morales with 2 on and 2 out. Missing inside.
Fagan's not giving him anything close. He's going to make him throw strikes early in this game.
Fagan hearing it now from the Boston dugout. Popped up near second base, and Pedroia stays with it to end the inning, and Lester glares at Clint Fagan as he comes off the mound.
pitcher. And bottom line is the Red Sox got off the field without the Twins scoring a run. The Menards batting order for the Red Sox. Brock Holt, the leadoff man today, playing center field. Xander Bogaerts batting second. Dustin Pedroia, David Ortiz, Mike Napoli, Daniel Nava, Johnny Gomes, Stephen Drew, and David Ross.
With Phil Hughes on the mound tonight for the Twins, making his 14th start of the year. Very good record of 7-2. He's been just a bulldog ace for this club, and they feel like when Phil Hughes pitches, it's win day. We'll see if he can shut down the Red Sox here in the first inning.
Northland Ford defense for the Twins. An outfield of Josh Willingham, Sam Fuld, and Oswaldo Arcia. An infield of Eduardo Escobar, Danny Santana, Brian Dozier, and Joe Mauer. Kurt Suzuki behind the plate. Hughes earlier in this road trip, 7 shutout innings against the Blue Jays. Earlier on the road, beat the Yankees at Yankee Stadium, the Padres at Petco Park, outside ball 1. The Tigers at Comerica Park, the Royals at Kauffman Stadium. The only time he started on the road and not won, it was his Twins debut in Chicago. 1-1. Has been on this mound, pitched in this ballpark many, many times as a member of the New York Yankees.
So the fact that it's quite quiet here tonight is something new for Phil.
Holt just keeps on hitting. Willingham does a nice job cutting the ball off, and he'll hold Holt to a single.
Josh does a real good job there. You're absolutely right. That ball gets by him. Holt was on the way to second base. So good job for Josh Willingham to get over there and cut this ball off. He hustles on over, stretches out his arm, and gets rid of the ball quickly.
Holt's aboard. And that'll bring up Xander Bogaerts. Bogaerts considered to be the shortstop of the future here in Boston. Their version of Danny Santana. The Red Sox had an opening at third base once they got Stephen Drew pitch inside ball 1. And so they've moved Bogaerts to third at least until Will Middlebrooks is healthy again. He's out with a busted finger. And maybe beyond that point. Middlebrooks has kind of seen his stock drop here in Boston. Backhanded nicely by Escobar. What a play. Eduardo Escobar with a fine play, backhanding a ball right over the third base bag.
Getting to this ball was hard enough, but watch how quickly he sets and throws a perfect strike across the diamond to Joe Mauer. That was a big league play right there.
Really nice play by Escobar for the first out. Holt advancing to second. And now Dustin Pedroia. Swing and a miss. Pedroia, or excuse me, Hughes pitched against the Red Sox at Target Field in mid-May. 6 innings, 5 hits, 5 singles. The Red Sox got 3 singles in 1 inning to score a run. No walks, 8 strikeouts. He did not pick up the win. The Twins did later on. That was the game where Aaron Hicks hit a walk-off single. Line to left center field, and the Red Sox will score the first run here tonight. Pedroia digging for second. Fuld's throw. And a nice slip tag by Dustin Pedroia.
And Fuld's throw was way offline. Pedroia never even hesitating. He was going to challenge Sam Fuld in his arm. And he threw it way up towards the first base side of second base. Pedroia does a good job of just scooting around Brian Dozier. We'll watch it all develop right here.
Nice job by Pedroia, reaching for the bag with his left hand and tucking his right hand away from Dozier's attempted tag. A double, an RBI double, and now David Ortiz.
That was Pedroia's 10th hit off Phil Hughes in 26 at-bats.
On the outside corner, a strike. Maybe the best thing Hughes did against the Red Sox in Minnesota, he got David Ortiz out. Not many pitchers did.
That's saying a lot in Minnesota.
Hughes hung an 0 for 3 on Ortiz in a series when he hit 4 home runs, got 8 hits, and generally took 7 o'clock batting practice all series long against the Twins. 2 strikes.
We talked about it yesterday with Kevin Correa on the mound and how to pitch David Ortiz. I think as he ages, you don't want to be deceived and tricked into thinking that you can't throw fastballs to him, because he's really an off-speed breaking ball type of hitter now more than he ever is a fastball hitter. And Phil Hughes got a very good fastball.
Breaking ball, looped foul.
Ortiz has got some very good numbers off of Phil Hughes. He's 9 for 25, a 360 average. That included 2 home runs and 3 doubles.
'15th start for Phil Hughes against the Boston Red Sox. Just off the outside corner, and it's 1-2. He's also made a handful of relief appearances. 9 of them, I guess. That's more than a handful. One and 2 to Ortiz, and a pop-up foul and out of play. Target field series aside, Ortiz's numbers are way down this year.
Yeah, you take away the series he had against the Twins in Minnesota, they would be down even further.
Pedroia at second after his RBI double. Breaking ball missed inside. 2-2. Into the shift again. Long throw from Dozier to Mauer. And Ortiz had 2 of those ground balls yesterday. Fielded by Dozier in short right field, 2 down. Pedroia advancing to third. That'll bring up Mike Napoli. Napoli's numbers are down, and all the things when we were in Detroit, we were talking about what a tandem Miguel Cabrera and Victor Martinez were in that series, because one protected the hitter in front of him, Martinez protecting Cabrera. So it stands to reason, I guess, that as Napoli's numbers have tailed off a little bit, that the guy in front of him also would have lesser numbers, David Ortiz.
Yeah, they're the 2 power guys in this lineup, and then Toronto before Detroit, it was Bautista and Encarnacion. So
all back, 2 strikes.
Phil Hughes, 16th pitch of this inning.
Napoli last year hit .259, 23 home runs, 92 runs batted in. He's blocked by Suzuki. 1-2 for the Red Sox first baseman. Breaking ball chopped to third. Escobar has an easier play. He makes that one too. Well, Hughes threw about half as many pitches as John Lester, but Hughes gave up the run and Lester did not. Hot and muggy night here in Boston. The Twins find themselves behind 1-0. Oswaldo Arcia will lead off the second against John Lester. First pitch. And a swing and a miss. Arcia hoping to break out of what has been a pretty deep slide for him. Average down to 231. Foul back, 2 strikes. Strikeouts are mounting, 29 of them in 91 at bats. Arcia, Suzuki, and Escobar.
Right now, I got to believe John Lester is going to try to throw some breaking balls down and away off the plate. And you see David Ross shifting. And there it was.
On 3 pitches, 1 down. Tonight's Cold Hard Facts presented by Frostbrewed Coors Light. And the Twins, along with their time with the Washington Senators, have been shut out 69 times here at Fenway Park.
Well, there's teams like Seattle and Tampa that just haven't played as many games.
Here is Suzuki.
How about Houston?
Suzuki takes a strike at the knees. Suzuki picking up additional work here with the demotion of Osmeal Pinto.
Yeah, they made that move a few days ago, bringing up Eric Fryer, and Fryer's going to be limited to his catching. I know they want to get him in the games. They don't want Kurt Suzuki to be catching every single game, but
decent chance, I would think, that Fryer might catch a day game tomorrow.
Good chance.
2 strikes to Suzuki. 1-2. From a pitcher standpoint, how much difference can a catcher make? We've seen Kevin Correa now 2 starts with Suzuki behind the plate, and he's looked very, very good, much better than with Osmeal Pinto behind the plate. pulled foul.
Well, on every team that I was ever on, there's always been more than one catcher. Obviously, they need a backup catcher, and typically there's a significant difference between your number one guy and the backup. Now, some of the backup guys couldn't hit a lick, but they were excellent receivers. I think Drew Butera being one of those recently for the Twins. Just a great receiver behind the plate, a good game caller.
Outside 2-2. One of the best was Henry Blanco. The difference was Joe Mauer went out with a knee injury that 1 year, and Blanco became the everyday catcher through the regular season and into the playoffs.
He wasn't used to that.
2-2 to Kurt Suzuki. And another foul back into the seats. Ideally, the Twins would be able to do to Lester something along the lines they did in the first inning. Maybe scoring would help too, but back up a stressful, long, tiring first inning with an exhausting second inning. Arcia struck out on 3 pitches.
And they threw 33 pitches in the first inning, and 4 of those, and you're out of the ball game.
And Suzuki strikes out. And the second inning starts with a pair of strikeouts. That'll bring up Eduardo Escobar. Owning Twins season tickets provides a guaranteed seat and a whole lot more. Season ticket holders receive a variety of experiences, benefits, and exclusive access, including All-Star Game ticket purchase priority. The best way to enjoy the All-Star summer is to join the Twins season ticket family. So call 800-33-TWINS and find out about the package that fits your budget. Here is Escobar. Already with one exceptional fielding play at third base. On this road trip, Trevor Plouffe went on the disabled list because of a rib irritation. Outside 1-1. And that shifted Escobar's job from an everyday shortstop to pretty much an everyday third baseman. Off the corner. 1-2.
John Lester is just not putting anything on the plate. If he's missing, it's just inches off the plate. He's stared down home plate umpire Clint Fagan a bunch of times, but he's just not giving in. He's not throwing the ball over the middle.
Call third strike. And Lester, who had a frustrating first inning, buckles down in the second, striking out the side. Thought that was an addition to this ballpark. Got a Twins fan sitting up there. Maybe Josh Willingham can hit one to him. But that surprised me, to be honest with you. I thought you were so much of a traditionalist that you would not have been in favor of the monster seats.
You've been up there, right? I know you have.
Yeah.
Those seats are incredible. You feel like you're right on top of the left fielder, which you basically are. And the infield's just a reach away. I think they're just a very unique view in any ballpark.
Daniel Nava leading things off, taking strike one from Phil Hughes, and now a foul, 2 strikes. One of the ironic twists to them putting seats up there. They are very well received, in very high demand, and have been ever since they put them up there. Foul back. Essentially, that's the same seat the Twins could hardly give away in right field in the Metrodome. You couldn't see part of right field at the Metrodome. There was a time when, if you wanted to buy a Twins season ticket for, what was it, $99, you could get 81 seats in right field, and you got a Kirby Puckett autographed bat. Just to get some people in those seats. There's a called third strike. Nava is called out on strikes, 1 down, and Johnny Gomes will hit.
First strikeout for Phil Hughes tonight.
And now here in Boston, because it's on top of the Green Monster, they got a waiting list for those seats. Got that maybe that backdoor cutter to a left-handed batter we've seen him use so effectively.
You can see Farrell arguing that was the pitch that Lester didn't get.
Gomes takes a belt high strike. Gomes getting a chance to play in left field now. Brady Sizemore designated for assignment. He's not in the outfield mix anymore.
Just a long time off for Brady, battling those injuries with his back. And effectively played now in 3 years. It's awful hard for him to catch up.
Fastball ate up Gomes. Foul back, 1-2. Off the breaking ball, 1-2. Excuse me, 2-2.
Phil Hughes took a little off that slider right there. I was trying to design to have Johnny Gomes chase it off the plate. Coming back with the curveball.
And froze him.
Filthy.
Second strikeout this inning for Phil Hughes. Both of them looking.
It's just a very tight, quick, hard-breaking curveball. Snaps over the inside corner about knee high. Good pitch.
2 down. That'll bring up Stephen Drew. Drew drove a double off the monster last night. Sends one to the left field corner. Willingham will hope for a bounce. And just a routine fly ball down the left field line, but here at Boston, it's a double off the wall.
Yeah, that ball was hit about 213 feet, or excuse me, 313 feet. Most ballparks, that's going to be an out. It hung up there long enough. We're at Fenway, and that's been there for a long, long time. Root and Cobb and DiMaggio spanked a few off of that wall.
And now David Ross. Ross, the preferred catcher for John Lester. We saw it come into play too, that although Willingham is back near the warning track, you can lose hits because of the Green Monster. Mauer might have lost one last night in the 9th inning. Just hit a little flip shot, didn't hit it well at all, but Gomes was playing so shallow that he was able to run in and make the catch. And a lot of other ballparks that might have been a base hit. So it does work both ways, but this ballpark gives up a lot of doubles because of the big fence and left. Swing and a miss, 2 strikes. Ross not hitting much at all. And Hughes hopes to polish him off here in the 2nd inning.
Ross was really fooled on that last pitch. That was a horrible swing.
Just outside. Fouled away. Jared Saltalamacchia was the primary catcher last year for the Red Sox. Ross backed him up.
Salty now catching for the Florida Marlins. Miami, I guess.
Pierzynski signed to a 1-year deal to be the primary catcher. 1 and 2. Popped up. Back over our heads. There are a lot of things that are over our heads. Still 1 and 2.
Here I thought we were having a good day.
Well, you and I actually had a good day. We'll talk about that here maybe in the next at bat here, either this inning or hopefully leading off the 3rd. Ross strikes out. That strands Drew at 2nd, and Hughes, like Lester, strikes out the side in the 2nd inning. Presented by CenturyLink, your link to what's next. By Northland Ford. Visit northlandford.com and your local Northland Ford dealers today. And by Grand Casino. The best stories start here.
Welcome back to Fenway Park, where the Red Sox lead at 1-0 as we go to the 3rd. Sam Fold is from about an hour outside of Boston, and he grew up going to Red Sox games. Fenway Park is really where the big league dream began for Sam. His childhood best friend was the son of Rich Gale, who was the Red Sox pitching coach at the time, so they'd come to a lot of games, sit in the family section, and he said he must have gotten Mo Vaughn's autograph about a dozen times. He says it is still a special feeling to play here in front of his family and his friends, and to finally realize that childhood dream, even though he's been here a lot of times, never gets old.
Thank you, Jamie. Sam Fold leading off the third, taking ball one, and now a strike. Maybe his greatest individual game came here at Fenway Park when he was a member of the Tampa Bay Rays. He had a triple, a home run, and a double, and had a chance to hit for the cycle. He hit one to the gap in right center field and hustled around first when he could have pulled up and completed the cycle, and instead got another double. And that says something about Fold, too, that even on your home turf in this hallowed ballpark had a chance to make some history, but he took the extra base instead. 2-2. Fold, Santana, and Dozier in the Twins' third. Twins announcing today that Aaron Hicks will be sent on a rehab assignment tomorrow, and will go to Double-A New Britain, not too far from here, a couple hours from here, to start a rehab assignment. 2-2, and pulled, just fouled. Sanford Health injury report involving Aaron Hicks. He's had a right shoulder sprain after making a diving catch at Target Field, and the hope is that in some weird way this will really benefit Aaron, who will get a chance now at Double-A to take steps towards a conversion of being just a right-handed batter inside the Fold, and it's 3-2. Tough to do it in any case.
Anyway, Gardy wants to get him at bats down there, and wasn't getting consistent at bats here at the big league level. And if he's only going to hit right-handed, he needs to see a lot of different pitchers.
Full count to the leadoff man here in the third, and Fold pops it up behind the plate. And Ross with just enough room, one away. One down, that'll bring up Santana. Saturday, a full night of MLB action, beginning with Baseball Night in America on Fox as Miguel Cabrera and the Tigers take on the Indians. Then the Rangers take on Mike Trout and the Angels over on Fox Sports 1. MLB doubleheader begins Saturday at 6 on Fox, continues at 9 p.m. Central on Fox Sports 1. You are in a lot of trouble, and so is Bert Blyleven, for that matter, because of what's happening in Detroit. Max Scherzer pitched his first complete game ever as we were
I
in
had
Detroit.
a feeling you were going to go there.
His first complete game ever. And he gives up 7 runs and throws about 50 pitches in the second inning to the Kansas City Royals tonight, proving the point that you can't complete 9 innings anymore. You've got to take the starter out after 7 or 8.
Well, he admitted he was tired.
He did admit that. I'm being facetious, of course, but a really rugged night for Scherzer the night after Justin Verlander got knocked around.
Well, the Royals are playing great baseball right now, and it looks like if they can hold on, they'll end up in first place. And I think that's the first time they've been there this year.
2 strikes to Santana. Chopper hit to short. Stephen Drew charges, and something happened to Santana. He appears to be okay, but he hadn't left the batter's box area.
Well, if he slipped, we'll get to see the replay right here. See him swing the bat, and he just fell right on home plate.
I think he might have stepped on the bat and spun his wheels. Santana capable of beating a ball like that out, but he never got out of the dirt area at home plate. 2 down. We'll bring up Dozier. We mentioned Dozier had already had 15 home runs on the year, stole his 15th base, so that sent me searching through the Twins history book. Ball 1. Dozier certainly on a pace. You'd have to consider him a candidate for a 30-30 season. 30 home runs, 30 stolen bases. Twins have never had anyone do that. The closest player they've had to a 30-30 guy, probably Kirby Puckett in 1986, hit 31 home runs and stole 20 bases. 2-0 to Dozier. Inside 3-0 with Mauer on deck.
I don't know what's harder to do. You know, it's awful difficult to hit 30 home runs.
Yeah.
Very few guys. That's an elite crowd right there. And for the big boppers, 30 stolen bases is a pretty tough thing. So
you look early in Twins history, and of course the 30 home run hitters were guys like Killebrew and Allison, right? And Gaetti stole 14 bases one year and with the 30 home runs, but the closest anyone's come to a 30-30 season is Kirby when he get the 31 home runs and stole the 20 bases. Now full count to Dozier. I guess in a sense the 15 steals are in a way more impressive because Dozier's hitting just .238. He hasn't been on base as much as he hopes to. A high fly to left. And coming in is Gomes. He doesn't see it. A leaping catch by Holt in left center field. That ball landed 50 feet from the left fielder, and Holt with a tremendous catch in left center field. His first game ever in center, and he pulls off a miraculous catch.
watch this ball as it goes up. Johnny Gomes, a lot like Oswaldo Arcia in Detroit. He doesn't know where it is. Shortstop Stephen Drew is pointing out there, and out of nowhere comes Brock Holt. What a play.
Infielder, corner outfielder getting his first start in center field. And he made a tremendous catch to retire Brian Dozier. And he will lead off the Boston third inning. We had a chance to spend some time with Brock Holt at a Bo Sox Booster Club luncheon today in Dedham, Massachusetts. Very nice young man, very humble.
It was fun.
And he drives it to left. Willingham going back. Off the wall. And Holt, who singled and scored in the first, now starts the third inning with a double.
Good job by Sam Full to get over and help out Josh Willingham. Willingham was going to go all the way back to the wall in case there was a chance that he could jump and maybe catch this ball. And while he was back there, Sam Full was smart enough to get over in front and field that ball. Second straight hit now for Brock Holt.
Red Sox with 4 hits, 3 doubles. So far, just 1 run. That'll bring up Xander Bogaerts. Bogarts chopped one over the third base bag, and Escobar made a fine play to record an out in the first inning. And there goes Holt to third. Suzuki's throw not nearly in time.
Just heads up base running. This young kid's, well, he calls himself a baseball player, and everybody in the organization has said that to us in the last couple games. Just smart. Instincts for the game of baseball.
We told the story last night. He's just kind of a middle infielder guy, shortstop, second base, but that's not where the openings were. He tried to win a job out of spring training as a utility infielder, and that went to Herrera instead. Full to the triangle, makes the catch, a fly ball deep enough to score Holt, and it's 2-0. Well, that was a Brock Holt
manufactured run.
He made a great catch to end the top of this inning, and then took over in the bottom of the inning. One down and a run in quickly here in the bottom of the third. And now that'll bring up Dustin Pedroia, who doubled to left center field his first time up. Drove in. Holt. Chop over the glove of Hughes, and Danny Santana, with a strong arm, is able to throw out Pedroia for the second out. Time now for you to tweet a photo using hashtag NorthFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming game broadcast. Brought to you by AT&T. David Ortiz bounced to second, with Dozier picking up the ground ball in short right field and throwing him out.
Danny Santana made that last play look easy, and it was not easy.
Down and in, ball one.
Some good young talent in this game here tonight.
Ron Gardenhire again talking today before the game with the media about the shifts that the Twins have employed, not just on Ortiz, but on Bogart, some of the other hitters. He says when Ortiz bluffed a bunt, they love to see that, not thinking that he would ever bunt, although he did earlier this year for a hit, 1 and 2. But it just, the shift itself gets into a hitter's head, and the feeling is, whether it's David Ortiz or Jason Kubel or whomever, once you get into their heads, you can impact their productivity at the plate, getting them to think about something other than what they're up there to do. And this time Santana has it go under his glove. Dozier again to Mauer, and Ortiz is retired. Brock Holt scores a quick run in the third, and it's 2-0. read this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Minnesota Twins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Minnesota Twins LLC. Carsoup.com trivia question: all time, which two Twins players have a career batting average of .375 or better here at Fenway Park?
You got to name two of them.
Well, no, our rules are if you get any part of the answer correct, it's called a correct answer. We'll go with Carew. Strike one to Mauer. Mauer, Willingham, and Morales, and the Twins need to get on the board here in Boston. Scoring runs, the least of their concerns here the last couple of years, but they haven't scored one yet.
15 innings, a shutout ball now for the Twins, being shut out.
1-1. Mauer hitless in this series, and that's not typical of him. He hits the ball very well here. Been said a million times, his swing was tailor-made for Fenway Park, and now he takes a strike on the outside corner, and it's 1-2. Mauer with a short fly to left, his first time up. Two and two.
Nobody out in the top of the fourth inning. 67 pitches for John Lester. He's pitched very well, 3 scoreless innings.
And a pair of 1-2-3 innings.
Yeah, but the Twins have just done a good job of having long at bats.
2-2. What they need to do is string some hits and walks together. This one lift to left. Gomes back, and he makes the catch up against the fence. One down. Join the Twins season ticket family and receive discounts on some of your purchases at Target Field. As a season ticket holder, you'll receive a 10% discount on concessions and merchandise while you're at the ball game. Call 800-33-TWINS or visit twinsbaseball.com. You can still become a season ticket holder and take advantage of the perks that come with that opportunity. There are some obstructed view seats here at Fenway. Willingham takes outside, ball one, drew a walk his first time up. Popped up, and Lester makes the catch. I think he caught it. Yep. The ball not just hit to the mound, but hit right to where Lester was finishing his delivery.
I love this, and I'm so glad that we finally get to talk about this. The rule is never let the pitcher catch the ball. Now, who catches more balls during the course of the game than anybody other than the catcher? The pitcher.
But those are balls tossed back by the catcher.
Oh, my goodness. Mean to tell me that the pitiful, poor pitcher couldn't field that? Ball's hit about 35 feet in the air. Mike Napoli didn't think he could. He almost ran him over.
Morales takes ball one. Morales popped up with 2 on and 2 out in the first inning. Again, the Twins had a first inning scoring threat, had a couple of runners on, and made Lester throw a lot of pitches, but they could not get the hit when they needed it. And now 1-2 to Morales.
I've got to go back to my argument about the pitcher catching that fly ball. I'd also argue that pitchers have to shag. They're out in the outfield every day catching balls, running down balls that hitters have to hit. Infielders, they take ground balls.
Morales just waves at strike 3, and Lester's retired 10 men in a row. baseball. Jack Morris, Dick Bramer, Jamie Hirsch here at Fenway Park. Red Sox winning 1-0 last night, leading 2-0 tonight. Mike Napoli, Daniel Nava, and Johnny Gomes will hit on the fourth.
It's playing out the way we built it to be. Pretty much a pitching game right now. Phil Hughes allowing the 2 runs, both to center fielder, first-time center fielder Brock Holt, who's having a great game for the Red Sox. Other than that, it's been pretty quiet.
And a first pitch strike to Mike Napoli. Napoli hit a ground ball to third his first time up. One and one. Red Sox had the top scoring lineup in the American League, in the major leagues last year. And they have had some injuries. With their run production down about 1.5 runs per game so far this year. 2-1. And a 2-2.
Well, Hughes has done a good job with his fastball location, and he's frozen a few guys with that real sharp breaking ball, the curveball. Napoli, a pretty good curveball hitter. He's a dead low ball hitter. We'll see if he tries to run the fastball up and in or go with that breaking ball down and away. That's the fastball.
Fouled away. Napoli making the conversion to first base. He had a hip issue that kept him from continuing his career as a catcher. So he made the move last year that Joe Mauer's making this year. It's a fair ball. Escobar has a long throw. Marvelous arm. And Escobar throws to Mauer for the first out of the 4th inning.
Right there, start your engine. Starting pitching this season. The first 26 game pretty miserable, but the last 42 games almost a full 2 points in the ERA better. The opponent's batting average considerably better, a lot more strikeouts and a lot less walks. So it's been much improved here in the last 42 games.
Fact of the matter, Jack, is that the Detroit Tigers are having the type of June that the Twins had in April. And the Twins are pitching better every month. And again, the hope is for Twins fans that that will continue, that this starting staff will give the Twins a chance to win on a regular basis, and Twins can start scoring runs and remain a factor in the race. Fouled away into the seats, 2 strikes.
Most people would never expected the Tiger staff to go into that kind of slump. The Twins went out and spent quite a bit of money this offseason to get Phil Hughes' and Ricky Nolasco's, signing Kevin Correa and Mike Pelfrey, which hasn't worked out very well for them. But the Tigers have probably quadrupled that money in their rotation, and yet they are going through some tough times right now.
2 strikes with 1 gone on the Boston 4th. Nava, a switch hitter, much better from the left side than the right side, which isn't saying much. He's only hitting .244 from the left side, hitting .100 as a right-handed batter. I looked at those numbers and I thought, well, I thought again about Aaron Hicks and how the biggest challenge he's going to have is, I mean, it would be easier if Aaron gave up switch hitting to become exclusively a left-handed batter, because you're going to see much more right-handed pitching to stay sharp than you ever will as a right-handed batter facing lefties. But that's not the way it broke down for Aaron. So
it was a confidence issue with him, and you know, I think Gardy agreed with it simply because his philosophy is if you're confident in it, you can adjust a lot better than when you're not confident in it.
is hit backhanded to Dozier. And Nava's out on a ground ball, 2 away. Phil Hughes, for whatever reason, he's only had 1 fly ball out. They've all been ground outs and strikeouts. Join the Minnesota Lynx for the Dads and Daughters ticket offer presented by Fox Sports North on Sunday, June 22nd against the Indiana Fever. For just $33, fans receive 2 tickets to the game and a drawstring backpack. For details, visit foxsportsnorth.com. Click on the More tab for details. Phil Hughes got 3 ground ball outs in the first, struck out the side in the second, the sacrifice fly, and 2 ground outs in the third, and 2 ground balls here in the fourth. 1 strike to Johnny Gomes.
Both Hughes and Lester are really getting dialed in here in the 4th inning.
And now 2 strikes. Again, no walks for Hughes going back to April 20th. He's issued just 2 walks to one man, Brian McCann, twice. And a strikeout. Gomes down on strikes. 6 in a row set down by Hughes. The Twins are down 2-0. And Oswaldo Arcia will lead things off in the 5th. So far, John Lester's given up just 1 hit. Twins only got 3 hits last night. Oswaldo Arcia struck out on 3 pitches his first time up. And he takes inside, ball 1. Arcia, Suzuki, and Escobar. An exaggeration to say that the Twins had John Lester on the ropes in the first inning. They didn't score. Swing and a miss, but they made him throw a lot of pitches. He retired Morales on a pop-up and has now retired 10 men in a row. And a foul ball, and Arcia is just having a hard time making any kind of contact, much less solid contact.
Yeah, and he gets his pitch, the pitch that he was having a lot of success with early when he came up after his injury, and now he's just following him back, and that's frustrating for a hitter who's struggling. When you get a pitch and you think you can square it up and you miss it.
Breaking ball in the dirt, 2-2. Twins need somebody to start swinging the bat and hitting the ball with authority again. Right now, no one's doing that. Good pitching can do that to you. Twins were really impressed with Ruby De La Rosa last night. 2-2. And Arcia strikes out, 1 away.
5th strikeout of the game for John Lester. And even though his pitch count is climbing, he is just commanding his pitches.
One down, and that'll bring up Suzuki. Went down swinging. If Suzuki strikes out, then you know the guy's dealing, because he typically doesn't strike out very often.
Well, he did in his first at bat in the 2nd inning.
Fox Tracks brought to you by Ram. Suzuki takes an off-speed pitch. Strike 1.
I think that's one of the reasons John Lester has become such a great pitcher. When he was younger, he didn't have the command of his off-speed pitches that he does now. In fact, I would argue that he throws more off-speed pitches for strikes than his fastball. But he shows his fastball that is very tempting for the hitter, never leaving it out over the plate. And he's just really become a pitcher's pitcher. He knows what he's doing. He can add and subtract, go up and down in the zone, in and out. Total guy.
2 strikes to Suzuki. And Suzuki grounds one towards the hole. Drew picks it up, has no play. And Suzuki has just the 2nd Twins hit. Now, all that said, it looked from up here that Lester was about ready to have an aneurysm in the 1st inning. And John Farrell, a former pitcher, as you pointed out, took advantage of first a medical visit to the catcher to see if Ross was okay, then went to the mound and appeared to read him the riot act.
Yeah.
And since then, Lester seems to be much more in control of things, or at least himself.
Well, and I think David Ross had a little talk with home plate umpire Clint Fagan. Also, Lester was clearly upset with some close pitches early in the game, and came off the mound visually and emotionally upset in the 1st inning.
Taken low, ball 1. Lester has to go back to the stretch for the first time since the 1st inning.
It shows what the importance of that leadoff at bat for Danny Santana was. Worked the count, had to throw pitch after pitch after pitch, and then he gets the base hit, and that right off the get-go can upset a pitcher.
And a strike taken. 1-1.
You hate losing those high-pitch battles when you're a pitcher. You throw 10+ pitches to your catcher. Guy keeps fouling him off. The 2 things you don't want to happen are a base hit or a walk. And typically one of those 2 things do happen.
1-1 to Santana. Two and 1. Fouled away. Want to belatedly pass along happy birthday wishes to a father-son tandem in Winona, Minnesota. Rocky Roan and his son Tyler both share a birthday on June 13th. And it's a few days late. Forgive me for that, but happy birthday, guys. We hope you're watching tonight. Two and 2 to Escobar. Foul back into the seats. Escobar called out on strikes his first time up. Foul tip, and the bat's still alive. Escobar switch hitting effectively, hitting over 300 from both sides of the plate. Half swing got him. Second time that Escobar has struck out against Lester. 2 down, that'll bring up Fold. Here's what happened in the first inning after they came out to check on catcher David Ross, then went to the mound.
You can see that John Farrell is doing all the talking. And I think more than anything else, he's saying, look, you're our guy. You got to calm down. You've got to let the umpire do his thing and quit your arguing and take command of that. And you see David Ross tapping him on the chest. John Lester knows this, and John Farrell knows that he's got a veteran out there. It's just trying to get through to him to calm everything down early and get himself under control, and he's been that way ever since.
Here's Fold on the ground on 2 hops to Pedroia, and that ends the 5th inning. 5 shutout innings for John Lester tonight and a 2-0 lead. The Twins come home for 4 games this weekend against the White Sox. And remember, at Twins home games, bring your Circle Me signs, and if you get circled, you might find yourself in the Minnesota Lottery winner circle, where you could win $100 worth of lottery scratch-off tickets courtesy of the Minnesota Lottery. He doesn't care who wins, I guess. He's got a Twins jersey and a Red Sox cap on. Stephen Drew, David Ross, and Brock Holt here in the 5th inning. The first pitch strike from Phil Hughes. Drew doubled with 2 outs in the second, doubled off the wall in left field. And an off-speed pitch over strike 2. Tap to the right side, Mauer to the ball, Hughes to the bag, 1 away. And that'll bring up David Ross. The sense I got at this luncheon you and I went to was that the Red Sox fans aren't going to take their team seriously this year unless or until they can get to the 500 mark. Then interest will start to percolate in their hopes of getting back to the playoffs again this year. And that's the challenge for the Twins on this road trip, to not fall so far behind that you've got to have an extraordinary run to get back to the 500 mark.
And the Twins 4 games under 500 right now. The Red Sox 6 games. And you're right, the Twins have flirted with 500 on this whole trip. They're getting close, only a game out a couple times, and now they find themselves 4 games out.
1-0. And a pop-up right side. Dozier coming over to make the catch. Jack and I represented the Twins organization. The Red Sox were represented by Brock Holt, who's gotten 2 hits, scored 2 runs. And I think you and I both thought when he walked in the room that we had been delivered to the set of the sequel of Good Will Hunting. We both thought he looked an awful lot like Matt Damon.
I still think he does. And in a way, he has a lot of his mannerisms. But I was very impressed with his attitude today and his little speech in front of a nice crowd. And boy, they love him. And why wouldn't they, right?
Yeah, I mean, you got a wonderful round of applause from the Boston fans, and then they introduced Brock Holt, and it's almost like they had introduced Carl Yastrzemski.
Well, that's the way it should be, I think. Hometown guy.
I mentioned to him today at lunch, and you know, I'm sure you get this a lot, but you look a lot like Matt Damon. He goes, yeah, and found out later the Red Sox are trying to line up a meeting between Matt Damon, who's a devout Red Sox fan, and his look-alike. 1-1 to Brock Holt. And now 1-2.
I'm sure you've been confused with like Brad Pitt or you know, those kind of actors. Last pitch here from Phil Hughes, just off the plate, and Confega gave it to him anyway.
Like when I let my beard grow in the off season, sometimes I get a Boz Scaggs. And I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. A good inning for Phil Hughes. Out of the 6th, it's 2-0 Boston. To get some run scoring done here in Boston. Twins in Detroit won a 2-0 ball game, lost 12-9, lost 4-3, and nothing in the run column yet. Ball 1 to Danny Santana. He'll be followed by Brian Dozier and Joe Mauer. Santana singled, stole second in the first inning, and now ball into the left field corner. He should have extra bases. Gomes will chase it into the corner, and Danny Santana glides into second with a double.
Good to see Danny Santana swinging it again. He actually swung the bat well last night. See the replay, another pitch, same location as his first base hit, down and in. This one he just hooks into the corner, and Johnny Gomes has to hustle over there because Danny, if that would have rattled around for a while, could have got to third.
A couple of outfield flies for Dozier on the night. And he'll come up with Santana at second, nobody out. Dozier pushes the bunt to the first baseman Napoli, and out at first with Pedroia covering. And Dozier again with that risky head first slide. A gesture of some animation toward the Twins dugout.
Well, you got to watch what happens here. Dustin Pedroia, just a smart play. He realizes that Lester is no way going to get over there. So behind Napoli, here comes Pedroia. He's yelling at Napoli, I'm here, and he just turns around, flips it. That just doesn't happen every day. Great heads-up play by Dustin Pedroia.
Santana going to third, assuming they'll give Dozier a sacrifice, even though it's a 2-0 ball game. Mauer now with the Red Sox playing even at third, but well off the line at third. Bogarts is there, and a ground ball anywhere with Santana able to take that huge lead. We saw Brian Dozier took a huge lead at Target Field like this. Bogarts is almost equidistant between second and third, which means Santana can get about a 30-foot lead off of third base. 1-0 to Mauer. And now 1-1.
Joe Mauer needs to pick up an RBI right here somehow, some way. The number 3 hitter in this lineup needs to produce.
Well, Bogarts will move 15 feet back at third base. Not over, but back. 2-1.
Change up right there.
Lester thought he had the knees on that pitch. 2-1. Three and 1. Willingham on deck.
Lester knows the numbers off of Mauer. Mauer has way better numbers off of him than Willingham, so he might be pitching around Joe here, hoping that he can maybe double up Willingham.
3-1 to Joe Mauer. Fouled away. 3-2.
98th pitch of the game for John Lester, and a part of that was the very first inning. The Twins hitters fouled off 14 baseballs in the first inning. In the last 3 innings, they've just fouled off 13 going into this inning.
It was a big pitch for Joe Mauer and the Twins here. 3-2. Liner to the left field corner. Trapped by Gomes. Mauer will drive in Santana and head to second with a double.
Well, not only good hitting, but good base running by Joe Mauer right there. He saw that Gomes had to dive for that. Somehow keeps the ball in front of him and then doesn't know exactly where it is. See the replay here. Joe hustling out of the box. Ball hit hard to left field, and Gomes does a great job of knocking that ball down, but he can't see where it is. And Joe just legs into second base with a double and an RBI.
Now Willingham with a chance to tie the game up. Twins finally score here in Boston. In their 15th inning of at-bats. Willingham walked and hit a pop-up. Caught on the mound by Lester. Outside, ball one. .100 pitches for John Lester.
A little bit of activity, a few guys getting loose in the Red Sox bullpen, but nobody throwing yet.
Taken for a strike. Front of the off-speed pitch, and it's 1-2.
Again, adding, subtracting. When I say that, I mean velocity-wise. Putting a little on his fastball, taking a little off, throwing two different speeds on his fastball. He can do that with his breaking ball.
1-2 to Willingham. Just off the plate. 2-2. Popped up. Napoli has a play. Out number 2. And that'll bring up Morales. No division in baseball has a tighter standings picture than the American League Central. Now on FoxSportsNorth.com, Tyler Mason gives a team-by-team checkup and what needs to happen for each to make a playoff push. Right now it's the Royals who are pushing. Unless the Tigers pull off a miraculous comeback, Kansas City is going to be in first place. Tigers will fall to second. Indians might fall back to the 500 mark. And what the Twins eventually will need to do if they're going to become a factor, win a playoff spot, is have the last couple of weeks like the Royals have had the last couple of weeks. Morales takes ball one.
Yeah, they haven't put together any stretch where they've just ran off 10, 12, 15 wins like we did in '91, but win series, and that's what Gardy wants them to do. They keep winning series, they're going to be okay.
1-0 to Morales. You mentioned the winning streak. It came to an end on this date in 1991 in Baltimore. And Tom Kelly was sitting in that chair. He said the biggest regret as a manager in that game, he intentionally walked Cal Ripken to get to Randy Milligan, and Milligan hit one off of Rick Aguilera off the wall in left center, and the Twins had their winning streak snapped. Morales takes inside 2-1.
The one thing I remember about that game more than anything else, the Baltimore fans were ecstatic. It's like they had won the World Series, and when I saw that celebration, I knew we must have been pretty good.
2-1 to Morales. The Twins have scored here in the 6th. They've got Mauer at second representing the tying run. Morales on the ground sharply to Drew. And that ends it. The Twins get a pair of doubles to get on the board in the 6th. It's 2-1. Presented by Toyota. Let's go places. To find your nearest Toyota dealer and check out our current offers, visit buyatoyota.com. By Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, for the everyday competitor in all of us. And by McDonald's, where right now you can score a delicious, creamy McCafe iced coffee starting at just $1.59. 2-1 ball game here at Fenway Park. Xander Bogaerts will lead off the sixth against Phil Hughes. Strike one. Hughes gave up a leadoff single and the resulting run in the first. Leadoff double and the resulting run in the third. That's been it. Tapper foul, 2 strikes.
But again, in his start here tonight at Fenway, 5 strikeouts, no walks. Phil Hughes has been pounding the strike zone. Hasn't been any extended innings. He's really done a good job of managing those ugly multi-run innings.
And he's retired 9 men in a row. Fly ball.
Should be 10.
Fold coming in. Just the second fly ball out to the outfield for Phil Hughes. He's also gotten an infield pop-up, 1 down. Well, Bert can't circle you, but you can still be our Pepsi fan of the game.
He may be watching, and he may just go up to his TV and do his circle anyway.
Probably has a telestrator at home in Florida. 1 down in the 6th. There's Dustin Pedroia. Drove in the first Boston run in the first inning with a double. Strike one. Backhanded beautifully by Dozier. Got him. What a play.
Wow.
Brian Dozier jumping in the air and delivering a throw. John Farrell's going to come out to discuss it with first base umpire Mark Carlson.
I don't know what his argument could be other than maybe he thought Joe Mauer might have come off of the bag. You can see the replay there and Joe stretching, but he clearly pushed off the bag with the ball in his glove. So Farrell not even going to ask for a review on this one.
Just kind of an awkward midair off balance throw by Dozier, but a fine play to get Pedroia.
Took a little while to get the ball out of his glove. Other than that, it was a sensational play. We've seen some outstanding defense tonight. Both the Twins and the Red Sox. Pedroia had made a great heads-up play covering behind Napoli. Escobar's made a couple great plays at third base. Danny Santana making a couple plays look very easy.
And now Ortiz takes ball 1 and ball 2.
You know me, I love good pitching, but I love good defense too. And when I see plays that I've seen here tonight, it makes me excited. That's good baseball.
Three 3-0 to Ortiz. Napoli on deck. Vicious 3-0 hack by Ortiz. Those of us who suffer from baseball withdrawal in the wintertime will resort to watching replays of 1987 highlight video, 1991 highlight video, and in the 87 highlight video, the part that always gets me fired up, there's about a 4-minute segment that's just foul of the 87 Twins highlight video, where it just features the defense. It features Lombardozzi, Gaetti, Herbeck, Gladden, Puckett, Bernansky, and one play after another, and it reminds you how important good defense reliable defense, and then spectacular plays from time to time are to a championship team.
Stealing outs is what you're doing. And it's a very important part of the game.
3-2 to Ortiz with 2 gone in the 6th. Fouled off a foot, and Ortiz plays hopscotch.
Well, David swings so hard that he should have wrenched his lower back, and then he steps on his back foot. You don't see that very often.
Another chopper foul over by the Boston dugout. Badenhop warming up. He's been outstanding for the Red Sox this year.
John Lester ended the inning with 108 pitches.
That one through the shift, and Ortiz has his first hit of the series. A liner to right with 2 gone in the 6th.
Well, after getting banged up a couple times, David Ortiz, healthy swing, a fastball in, just gets over Joe Mauer's glove and past the diving Brian Dozier. So with 2 outs, David Ortiz with a sore toe might be plugging up the base pass.
Here's Napoli. He might be plugging up the base pass even if both toes are feeling pretty good. Napoli with 2 ground balls to Eduardo Escobar at third tonight. Just outside ball 1. Kansas City now leading Detroit 10-2. Past Dozier into center field. Ortiz to second base. That'll bring up Daniel Nava. Twins fans, don't miss the 2014 Cigars and Baseball event benefiting the Miracle League of Minnesota, Thursday, June 19th. For just $100, fans will receive 7 premium cigars, drinks, food sampling from 10 top metro area restaurants, a ticket on the Skyline deck for the Twins White Sox game, and reserved parking. For more information, visit foxsportsnorth.com and click on the More tab. 2 on, 2 out, and Daniel Nava will hit. He struck out looking in the 2nd and hit a ground ball to Dozier in the 4th inning. And suddenly the Red Sox, with a couple of singles here, have put together a threat after the Twins got a run on the top of the inning.
Phil Hughes needs an out right here. He has to shut down this inning right now.
That's to left. Willingham slides, tumbles, and makes the catch. And that ends the inning. And the Red Sox strand 2 in the 6th.
Brock Holt. That was back in the first inning. Xander Bogaerts hitting a sac fly to right center field. And Joe Mauer going to left field, getting a double, driving in Danny Santana. That's the scoring for this game. Subway in-game box score. See it all right there.
John Lester will start the 7th inning in part because he's absolutely dominated Oswaldo Arcia, striking him out twice on 7 pitches. And it's Arcia leading off the 7th inning. Towering pop-up down the right field line. Pedroia with the catch, and Arcia gone on 1 pitch.
John Lester's night so far, it's been pretty brilliant. Other than the first inning where he had a high pitch count, he has got 6 strikeouts in this game, only 1 walk. That was back in the first inning, and he has really pitched a whale of a game. John Farrell, his manager, is going to come out and get him right here and get a nice round of applause. High pitch count, otherwise he might have been able to go deeper into this game, but he leaves just a 1-run score.
Inning and comes off the mound with a chance to win the ball game. 33 pitches in the first inning. And had the stern lecture delivered by John Farrell, or what appeared to be a stern lecture, and then settled down after that. Now Burke Badenhop, who pitched in last night's game, later in the game, asked to get an out or two at least here in the 7th inning. Twins actually knocked Badenhop around pretty good last night. Suzuki singled, full doubled. Escobar lined out. Santana was hit by a pitch, but he struck out Brian Dozier. And the Twins left the bases full and then didn't threaten in the 9th. 1 strike. Two strikes. Suzuki was the first man Badenhop faced in the 8th inning last night. Chopper in front of Bogaerts, has plenty of time to throw him out. 2 away. Fans, you can follow every Twins game with MLB.com at bat on your favorite mobile phone or tablet. Get live look-ins, instant replay, score, stats, and the free MLB.TV game of the day. Download at bat at the App Store or visit twinsbaseball.com today.
John Farrell's going to play a little mix and match. Eduardo Escobar struck out twice tonight against John Lester, and he's going to get bait and hop out there.
Well, asked to get just one out in the 7th inning. Badenhop leaves. He'll go to the right side with the left-hander coming into the ball game. All season long at Target Field, businesses of all sizes gain a competitive edge by treating prospects and clients to a Twins game. You can take advantage of all that Target Field has to offer your business. Private suites, special group seating arrangements. Call 800-33-TWINS or visit twinsbaseball.com. It is Craig Breslow coming into the ball game to pitch to the right-handed hitting Eduardo Escobar.
You see the numbers for Craig Breslow, former Twin.
Escobar, 2 strikeouts against Lester. Ball 1. And Escobar, as a right-handed batter, doing a little bit better, but really good, solid, with a home run from each side of the plate. 2-0.
We'll find ourselves in another low-scoring 1-run ball game late in this one here at Fenway.
Breslow, who throughout his career has always been a strike thrower, but this year has had 14 walks in 22 2/3 innings. And he falls behind Escobar 3-0 with Fold on deck. And Escobar takes a 4-pitch walk, and Breslow's stunned. He thought that last pitch was over the plate. Where was it?
Well, let's look. Box track says it's away. One thing about Clint Fagan, the home plate umpire, he's been consistent all night. That has not been a strike.
And now Fold. Left-handers hitting against Breslow much better than right-handers, and now Fold takes ball 1. Left-handers are hitting .300 against Breslow. And strike, 1-1. Fouled off the ground and then up into Folds neck or head area, it looked like. 1-2. Hit hard to left center. Going back is Holt. He makes the catch. So hit it right on the barrel. But it's the third out of the seventh inning. Very good ball game again here. He gave up a run in the first, a run in the third. And now in the seventh, he'll face the bottom third of the Red Sox lineup. Johnny Gomes, Stephen Drew, and David Ross.
Here's his pitch count. Very good shape. 81 pitches coming into this inning. His mound opponent, John Lester, pitched a very good game also. So hopefully Phil Hughes can keep the pitch count down this inning. Maybe have a chance to get into the eighth inning. And the Twins will figure out a way to score him a couple runs.
Twins have a day game here tomorrow, and then they will open the homestand, just a 4-game homestand, with Johan Pino as a starting pitcher. Twins announced today that he will replace Samuel DeDuno in the starting rotation. Swing and a foul, 1 strike. DeDuno's been moved to the bullpen, and the Twins will announce a roster move to accommodate all of that on Thursday. The presumption is that the Twins will stick with 12 pitchers, so that would mean there might be some movement out of the Twins bullpen. But starts like this by Hughes are important if the Twins do in fact want to keep a 12-man pitching staff, because you need your starter to get regularly through 6 and at least into, if not through the 7th.
No question. This is important to rest that pen, give them some time, kind of regroup, and have Gardy set things up the way he wants. There is some activity now in the Red Sox bullpen. It looks like it's Junichi Tozawa, the right-hander.
1-2 to Gomes, and he's just struck out against Hughes for the 3rd time. Twice looking, once swinging, and there's one gone in the 7th.
See this another sharp breaking ball right there. It starts at Johnny Gomes' left elbow, kind of freezes him, and then just drops right in the strike zone. 6th strikeout now for Phil Hughes, no walks.
We got 4 strikeouts looking, and I think all 4 have been on that curveball.
Curveball tonight.
The pitch that he sometimes hasn't used that much. Here's the Fox Tracks presented by Carrier. Stephen Drew with a double and a ground ball to Mauer. Swing and a miss.
Stephen Drew had a 2-hit night last night. Phil Hughes has done a good job handling him tonight. He did have a double to lead off the second inning.
Two and one. Called strike, and Drew doesn't believe it. 2-2. Hughes waiting on the batter. Grounded to the right side. Dozier gobbles it up. 2 down. And that'll bring up David Ross. As promised earlier in the game, we had the AT&T fan photo of the game. Tweet a photo to #NorthFanPhoto for a chance to be shown in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by AT&T. Huck star 12. Superman outfit on, much like Sam Fuld, right? Ryan's here, and we appreciate the submission. 2 down in the 7th. David Ross, the hitter, and up and away, ball 1. Ross struck out in the 2nd, hit a pop-up to Dozier in the 5th. Twins are shifting Ross. An infield shift, moving Dozier to the other side of second base.
And they're pitching him away.
And the strike call. Someone in the media session with the manager today prefaced the question by saying to Ron Gardenhire, you guys don't shift as much as some other teams, and then finished his question, and Gardy took exception to the preface to the question, saying, you know what, last night we shifted on 3 hitters, and they were the first team to shift on Xander Bogaerts. A drive to center field. Fuld doesn't have to move. He makes the catch. And another 1-2-3 inning for Phil Hughes. Congratulations. Right here, the Twins will send up the top of their order, starting with Danny Santana, who's already got a couple of hits. Put the ball sharply tonight. A single in the first inning, a double to the left field corner in the sixth. And he'll face Junichi Tozawa. Tozawa has to get the eighth inning. They are expected to get the ninth unless the score changes, and that'll be the task for Santana and company to try to push a run across and keep Uehara in the bullpen in the ninth inning.
Twins need base runners. Santana 2 for 3 on the night, scored a run, the only Twins run.
His hits came against John Lester as a right-handed batter. He'll hit here as a lefty against Tozawa. Still only a fraction of a full season, but now Santana has over 100 at bats, and he raised a lot of eyebrows when he jumped to the big leagues and started hitting right away. And so far he hasn't stopped.
.378 batting average in late innings.
And Santana drops a bunt down foul, and it hit him, I believe, in the batter's box. Now John Farrell's going to come out and contest this call. The home plate umpire Clint Fagan made the call that the ball hit Santana in the box, and I think one foot was anchored in the batter's box. His right foot was still in the box when the ball hit him, at least by my
estimation.
2 strikes to Santana. Trying to get aboard to start the 8th inning. Rare times strike 2 is immediately followed by strike 3 with Santana. 1 down. Let's go to Jamie Hirsch.
Guys, well, we've seen some incredible plays already tonight at second base by both Dustin Pedroia and Brian Dozier, and I've talked to each guy about the other, and there's a ton of mutual respect there. Brian Dozier called Pedroia a dirtbag player, but he means that in a good way. He says he's always willing to sacrifice his body out at second and get his uniform dirty to get the out. Now, there's always quite a bit of dirt on Dozier's uniform, too, of course, and Pedroia has been most impressed by his all-around play. He said he first became aware of him last season, but he thinks this is really Dozier's breakout year with the power numbers we've seen. He said Dozier is definitely a player to watch and will be for years to come.
Well, thank you, Jamie. That's pretty high praise. If you get a compliment about your play at second base from one of the best in the game.
Well, they're two of the best in the game, especially here in the American League.
1-1. Dozier looking for his first hit. He pushed a bunt in the 6th inning up the first baseline, and Pedroia, as much as anyone else, denied him a base hit. He was given credit for a sacrifice. Chopper, and it's foul, and it's 1-2. Second base, a position of strength in the American League with Cano, Kinsler, Altuve, and Pedroia, of course. Dozier's got 4 home runs and the other 4 combined. One and 2. Foul back.
Tozawa's really a lot different than his countrymate, the closer, Koji Uehara, in the fact that he can run his fastballs up in the mid-90s. Uehara doesn't have that great fastball. They both have very good command.
And a foul.
I think the hitters pick up a little bit better the pitches coming from Tazawa, but I've seen him pitch outstanding in that setup role.
One and two to Dozier. Two and two. Twins with just 1 run scored, total of 7 hits in nearly 2 innings or 2 games worth of at bats. Red Sox haven't done much better. They got a couple of run scoring hits in today's game. Actually, one was a sacrifice fly. That's how they scored the run last night. Dozier strikes out. And Ross flips to first, 2 down. Tazawa strikes out Santana and Dozier, and that'll bring up Mauer. Carsoup.com trivia question. Gotta believe Rod Carew would be on that list, wouldn't you?
I would think.
Antonio Oliva and Justin Morneau are the hitters on that list. That's a very high average. Maybe not a coincidence that both of them are left-handed hitters. This ballpark has hosted some of the best left-handed hitters in baseball history. Here's Mauer, who doubled in a run his last time up. Strike one. Williams, Yastrzemski, Boggs. One strike to Mauer. Two strikes.
Sam Folds hero. Move on. First base.
I mean, you think of those Hall of Fame left-handed hitters, but Mike Greenwell was a really good left-handed hitter here for a lot of years. Two strikes to Mauer. Twins running out of outs again here tonight. Just 1 run on the board. Taken low and away. He was hoping for a little more run support tonight. Mauer hopes to provide some late in the 8th inning.
There's been no activity in the Twins bullpen, so it appears that Phil Hughes will come back out to pitch the bottom half of the 8th.
Fouled away.
And that's what a good pitch count can do for you, Phil Hughes. Through 7 innings, only 94 pitches, 72 of them strikes. He did give up the 2 runs, but he's still in this ball game. The Twins trying to figure out a way to score a run, tie it up, give him a chance.
Another 1-2 pitch to Mauer. Struck him out. Another throw to first. And Tazawa strikes out the side in the 8th.
Lester did it in the 2nd. Tazawa does it in the 8th.
The Red Sox in the 8th inning. And it'll be Brock Holt, who's been the biggest nemesis for the Twins in this game. 2 hits, 2 runs scored. Made a circus catch in center field after Johnny Gomes lost a fly ball in the twilight. And Holt takes strike on the outside corner. On the ground, Santana throws out Holt, 1 away. Brock Holt with a very impactful day against the Twins. And here's the circus catch. A ball that the left fielder was 50 feet away from. Steal of third that proved to be very important because Bogaerts then delivered a sacrifice fly without the stolen base. The Red Sox don't get the go-ahead or the difference-making run back in the 3rd inning. 1 down, and now Bogaerts hits one through the hole between Dozier and Santana. We've seen Dozier dive to his left on Ortiz's base hit, and now to his right on Bogaerts' base hit, which was give you every indication that his back must be doing better.
He's fine. I talked to him before the game, and he said he's back to 100%. I think it's kind of humorous that he calls Pedroia a dirty player. Look at that uniform. Dirtball himself.
Pedroia doubled to left center, scored a run in the 1st, or drove in a run, I should say. Since then, a couple of ground ball outs. And outside ball 1. Interesting that Koji Uehara is not warming up. It is Edward Mujica who might be lined up to try to pick up a save here because Uehara has pitched in 3 games in a row. Foul tip and a strike, 1-1. Uehara saved the game last night, the 1-0 Boston win. Right now he's not warming up, and the only one who is Edward Mujica.
Twins have a couple guys throwing in their bullpen right now. It looks like it's Matty Guerrero and Brian Dunson. You see the Twins loosening up.
This will be his 100th pitch of the night. Fouled back.
See his pitches by inning. His high 17 in the 1st. A couple of real good innings there in the 3rd and the 5th.
One and two to Pedroia. Foul back and out of play. You can't do it, of course, but if you could take out Hughes' last or his start against the Astros 2 starts ago, when he gave up 3 home runs and 5 earned runs, you'd really be looking at an extended run of excellent starts that the Twins have not seen in a long time. The Houston start stands out because the Astros were swinging the bats well going into the Target Field series, and they cuffed Hughes around a little bit. He gave up 3 home run balls in that game. Drilled to left. Very high off the wall. Willingham fires to second. Pedroia falls down, and now he'll be caught up in a rundown. Tagged out. Dozier calling him out for running out of the baseline. Pedroia's called out by Tim Welke, the second base umpire.
That's a good call right there. Tim Welke, the crew chief. John Farrell's going to come out and argue this just because he's going to protect his boy Dustin Pedroia, But he was clearly out of the baseline. He has no argument at all.
Pedroia claiming he wasn't tagged. What led to it all was a nice play by Willingham in left, playing the carom. That ball couldn't have missed going out by more than inches, but Willingham played the carom, fired it towards second base. Pedroia, seeing that, slammed on the brakes and slipped.
It almost looked like a fan might have reached over and touched that ball, in which case it would have been a ground rule double. And maybe that's what John Farrell's going to argue and have him review.
That what?
Well, the ball looked like there was a fan that reached over the monster, and he might have touched that ball. And if he did, that's a ground rule double.
So this might be
right there. We don't know if that fan interfered or not. And that angle is not going to be conclusive because all we see is white.
Looked like if the ball went
through the guy's
between
hands.
the hands.
Yeah.
But inches from a 2-run home run, and the result of this umpire's review.
I don't believe they would allow Bogaerts to score on that. He had not reached third base yet.
Crew chief review of a potential home run. I don't believe they will have sufficient evidence here to call it a home run.
No.
It just looked like the ball went right between the hands of the fan leaning over the top of the wall. Let's take another look.
It would have to bounce up and hit that guy in the chops for it to be a home run. The ball looks like he opens his hands. The ball hits below the line. And it's going to remain the way it was.
This is not a managerial challenge. This was a crew chief challenge to see whether the ball cleared the wall or would have if not for fan interference. The bottom line is there's an out on the play, the second of the inning, and there's a runner at third rather than a 2-run home run.
And they do rule Pedroia out because he was out of the baseline.
A single for Pedroia. And again, replay aside, Willingham played that ball expertly, and that he was able to retrieve it, get it back to second base as quickly as he could. You can still see the area between first and second where Pedroia tried to slam on the brakes and instead slipped.
Pedroia was under the assumption that there was going to be a play at home on Bogaerts. So he was going to try to scoot down to second base and get himself into scoring position. The throw came into second base, an accurate throw, and then Dozier heads up, seeing Pedroia hit the skids. He ran him back all the time watching Bogaerts at third base, so he wouldn't be able to advance.
Now Ortiz, 1 for 3 today, 1 for 6 against Phil Hughes this year. Very important runner at third with 2 out.
David Ortiz has shown that he hasn't caught up with the fastball here tonight. And Phil Hughes still throwing fairly hard. That was 93-mile-an-hour heater right there.
One strike. 2 strikes. Well, in the Twins rotation, Phil Hughes has the best fastball. And if that's how he has gotten Ortiz out 5 times in 6 tries, you'd expect him to use it again here, wouldn't you?
Well, if he throws the breaking ball, you make sure it's down and off the plate.
Fly ball left field. Willingham with the catch. And Phil Hughes has completed 8 innings here, giving up just 2 runs to the Red Sox. We'll see if the Twins can get at least one in the ninth. A deep drive to right. Oh, and a home run. Chris Parmelee with a walk-off winner. Down for a hit. Suzuki hitting around third. He's coming in. Aaron Hicks is the walk-off winner today. Work for Aaron Hicks. One of the reasons the Red Sox have struggled this year, they've got a very poor record in one-run games, and they've lost a lot of games late, including 2 games already to the Twins. 11 times they've lost a ball game in an opponent's last at bat. Koji Uehara has not pitched 3 days in a row, but instead 3 games out of the last 4. So it's Mujica coming into the ball game to try to get a save, and he'll start with Josh Willingham, the middle of the Twins lineup. Willingham, Morales, and Arcia lined up to hit here in the ninth. First pitch down and away, ball 1.
Boston has made a couple defensive changes. Brock Holt has moved over to right field, and Jackie Bradley Jr. has come in to play the ninth in center field.
Mujica with 1 save this year. He got 37 saves last year for the Cardinals. Fouled back, 1-1. His numbers this year, frankly, not very good, including 5 home runs allowed and 24 in the 3rd innings. He only gave up 9 home runs all last year for the Cardinals. 1-1 to Willingham. Outside, 2-1. Willingham walked in the first, popped up in both the 4th and 6th innings. Has not gotten the ball out of the infield. 2-2. Mujica signed a 2-year deal with the Red Sox after a breakthrough year of sorts with the Cardinals last year. A fastball. For strike 3, 1 down. Day game tomorrow. Kyle Gibson going for the Twins. John Lackey for the Red Sox. That's our Century link to what's next. 1 gone on the 9th. Here's Kendrys Morales.
Yeah, another good pitching matchup tomorrow. Lackey leading the Red Sox in wins. Kyle Gibson coming off a very good start in his last time out.
Swing and a miss. Been a lot of swinging and missing in the last couple innings. Tozawa struck out the side in the 8th. Now a strikeout of Willingham to begin the 9th.
10 strikeouts already for the Twins.
Just outside 1-1. That foul. And it's 1-2. Morales had hit in every game for the Twins coming into last night's game. He's not gotten a hit yet in this series. Outside, and it's 2-2. Mahika's been around a while. This is his 13th year of professional baseball.
It's the fastball away.
And just can't hang on to it. A foul tip.
Mojica couldn't locate it either. It was right down the middle. So both of them caught a break. Both Mojica and Morales. That's a pitch that Kendrys would love to have back.
Two and two. 5th straight strikeout for the Boston bullpen. 2 down.
I'll bring up Oswaldo Arcia, and he already has 2 himself tonight. Here's the replay. Just threw it right by him.
Last hope for the Twins. Each team in this series has 1 run-producing hit. The deciding run last night and the deciding run so far tonight coming on and out, a fly ball. Arcia's average down to 223. It's down and in, a swing and a miss, 1 strike. Arcia 2 strikeouts on 7 pitches, then he popped out in the 7th inning on the first pitch he saw. One. Sam Fold hoping for a chance later this inning. Popped up behind third. Bogarts. It's the left fielder. Gomes making the catch. And the Red Sox have won a pair of low-scoring 1-run ball games against the Twins. Anthony LaPanta, we expected a pitcher's duel. Usually we don't get one when we expect one, but we had one tonight. The Red Sox pushed a couple of runs across in the early innings, enough to make it hold up at the end.